What's up, everybody? We are back with another Bad Batch review. This is episode 11 of the Bad Batch series that drops on Disney Plus every Fridays. This is our review, of course. So we're going to break down, get into it, do some theories, do some predictions, and give an overall review of the episode. So I'll be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bogz. Yes, got it right. To my
Got it right, Bogz.
Yes, I remember. I remember how online stuff works. But yes, how are you today, Sol?
Doing good. Went to a friend's birthday party last night, so recovering from that. But I'm ready to talk Star Wars. Great episode this week.
Yes, I did also enjoy it. We'll just give our kind of first thoughts up front, and then we'll do like a kind of brief episode review. So it was a slower episode in terms of overall action stuff, but a lot of interesting things happened. Mostly in terms of the Syndulas, their backstories, a lot of it, particularly Hera. You know, we saw her as a child. If anyone doesn't know who Hera is, she is one of the leads of Star Wars Rebels. She's the pilot of the Ghost, which is in the rebellion, in the early parts of the rebellion. And, you know, she has a relationship with a Jedi called, Caleb Doom, who also appears in the first episode of The Bad Batch as well, also as a child. So that was an interesting tie up there. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good episode because I do like Ryloth and the history on there. You know, I've read some of the kind of the canon books and also just seeing Ryloth in Rebels and things like that. So, and I'll come to that in a bit later on. But I do like that planet. I like that family. We didn't get much of the Bad Batch, to be honest. One scene for a minute, maybe two at the most, which is kind of funny. But overall, yeah, I did enjoy it. How about you?
Yeah, this definitely, to me, I was like, this isn't a Bad Batch episode. This is like a combo Clone Wars Rebels episode because we got the Bad Batch, like you said, for like a minute or two. And most of that was with Omega. So it wasn't even really the Bad Batch in that. And I love this episode. The second I saw Hera Syndulla's parents, I was just like, are we going to get Hera in this episode? And then the next scene, there was Hera. And I was just like, this is exciting and I'm here for this episode. And it was a lot of fun. We get to see her dreaming of being a pilot and kind of just like, it's where you know her future and she's there just wanting it so bad as a child. So it's cute to see like where she was starting there. And then definitely theories were going in my mind. I'm like, okay, are we going to see Kanan again? Are we going to see her again? What's going to happen? Where's this story going? Because we did take a side quest away from the Bad Batch in this episode.
Yeah, definitely did. And it starts off on Ryloth. It's similar to the previous episode where there's like an announcement to the people and they're all kind of gathered and in front of a big kind of building or tower. Same thing here where we see a lot of Twi'leks gathered, of course, and they're being told to, in effect, put their weapons down because the Empire are now providing the security for your planet. So that's Captain. So initially they seem to be. So Rampart orders. It's Orin Fintar. His name is. That's the Twi'lek with the kind of with the blue. Who's dressed in blue? He's like the political one, if you say. And then he's kind of telling the people of Ryloth that this is now a time of peace. Lay down your weapons. You know, because obviously Ryloth has. A history with, overthrowing a political, the Free Ryloth movement and stuff. That comes later in the timeline, but these are the kind of beginnings of it because Cham Syndulla has always been a political activist and things like that. So he's always been fighting for his planet and his people and stuff. So the fact that now, and obviously the crowd is asking for Cham Syndulla because he's the kind of representative of the people. That there's already indications there. This Orin Free Tar is obviously a corrupt, or they didn't necessarily trust him. They're asking for Cham, and he basically says the same thing, just with a bit more emotion. And then they all kind of, reluctantly agree. And this just shows that the Empire, how they are going from planet to planet and basically enforcing their armies, their imperial kind of ways, and how they're protecting planets and people, and telling them to give up their weapons so they can enforce their new laws across the galaxy. So another interesting look that we've not seen before, transitioning into the empire across the galaxy, and how that's going for people boots on the ground, for politicians, for people in the empire as well. And we see Crosshair is with them, and we'll get into that in a second. But he kind of looks okay as well, which I was a bit surprised at. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, just thoughts on the opening scene on Ryloth. Seeing seeing the Sandulas basically, and then seeing with the just what's going on with the speech and stuff. Any thoughts on that?
Cham is so respected on Ryloth by the people of Ryloth that they didn't want to hear Senator Todd. They wanted to hear Cham speak. And when Cham spoke, they were like, okay, we're good with this. And it was kind of fun to see the dichotomy of the previous episode where you have the senator going, I can't do this, I'm going to speak out. And like the rest of the crowd going, okay, these are bad people, we're not going to get behind them. Whereas this episode, you have Cham going, no, these clones fought with us, they saved us from the separatists. We have a connection to them. Let's respect them. Let's live in peace. And then everyone cheering and being for that. So it's kind of funny to see the dichotomy of these two episodes on, like, depending on what planet you're on, depending on the person that you trust, what they're saying up there on the pulpit, depends on how you're going to react to the Empire.
Yeah, and then towards the end, the Sandulas are having a debate of, is this the right thing? Is this what we should be doing? Cham does say, I trust the clones. The clones have saved us, in many wars, in many fights. So we trust them. They are now representing, they are the protectors of the Empire. The troopers are. So, I'm following their, I trust them. That's the main thing. So, and then we see and then we see a cut to Hera, as a child. And I was thinking, in fact, I wasn't thinking, we're going to see Hera, because I thought, she's going to be too young. They're not going to, I didn't think they'd show like a 10-year-old, however old she is in this Hera. And then we see Chopper as well, which I thought was just a really nice surprise. I didn't think they were together at this time. And at this point, they're told to kind of stop and lay down their weapons, and then kind of, like I said, Hera is kind of overseeing some of this stuff that's going on, and then she kind of lays down kind of dreams of like a starship flying and stuff. And we know, obviously, if anyone isn't aware, she's one of the best pilots in Star Wars, full stop. I'd put her up there with Han Solo, with Poe Dameron, maybe Wedge Antilles, Anakin Skywalker, some of the best pilots in the galaxy. We just see her kind of wandering, with a hand, and it's really nice seeing. I'm pretty sure there was Leia's theme as well, mixed in with that. The music this episode was maybe the best of the series as well. I was really impressed with that. If it wasn't Leia's theme, it was almost exactly the same, which I just found really sweet. Almost a surprise, like, it's Leia's theme, and she's like, it's her and Chopper. So nice throwback stuff there. That's what we're here for. And Hera is then caught by the clone troopers, and where we see and kind of first start to hear Captain Hauser, who almost looks, he doesn't look like regular clones. Like, he looks more human, where his features are just more like human, like he has hair, and the things that he's saying as well. Like, he's obviously he's took Hera back to Cham Syndulla. He's explained to him that, I'm not going to report this. She just needs to stay out of trouble. And this, for me, he doesn't look like he's implementing Order 66, or he's not as strict or stringent as other troopers are, who, like, for example, Wrecker, who didn't care when Order 66 was enabled when he had the chip in. He didn't care about she was a kid, about he was going to kill her. She was in violation of Order 66. I'm gonna kill you. So the fact that he seemingly is not implementing Order 66 is definitely kind of makes you think, and interesting, because it happens throughout the episode, which we'll cover. And then we see kind of Rampart is happy to hear that Cham is working with them, because obviously he needs them to keep the people under control. And then we also see Crosshair there without his helmet now, so he doesn't have his bandages on. Obviously, we saw the damage he's taken in the last couple of episodes. And I was quite surprised he doesn't have too much damage. I thought that because he's a sniper, I thought he would be physically damaged, his eyes or whatever. And he almost has no damage apart from a little scar on the back of his head or whatever. So maybe, I think the inhabited chips are on the back of the head, so I don't know, maybe that was damaged at all. I don't know. And that led me to think, oh, is he acting under free will now? Because is he just that far gone? Does he hate his brothers that much? Who knows? And then Rampart tells Cham that he's turning this area where they're having this kind of conversation into a military base, which further shows that the Empire only cares about their interests as opposed to the Ryloth people and what they want. So yeah, overall thoughts on seeing that scene with Hera, and then her kind of getting caught, and then seeing the kind of conversations with Cham and Rampart and Crosshair.
Yeah, the clones were very interesting in this episode because what we saw from previous episodes with Order 66 is the second that's activated, they do not care. They're following that order to the T. So the fact that they're like, oh, we're not going to report this to the Empire. Oh, she's just a child. All of this, that was very interesting to me. And I was wondering if with the regular clones, if when it's activated, if some clones have it where it's not as strong as others, because we saw with the Bad Batch it was very strong in Crosshair. It was a little bit in Wrecker. It wasn't at all for the rest of them. So I was wondering if that's the same thing across the other clones as well. We saw in season 7 of Clone Wars that Rex was able to fight it for a little bit, which we haven't seen with any of the other clones. So that's making me think maybe it's not as powerful in some clones as others. So maybe these are clones that by the end of this show, they might get their chips out. They might come to the better side. And so that was the interesting part there for me, is like focusing on the clones and seeing the fact that they aren't completely implementing Order 66 to the T like previous episodes.
And then Hera takes kind of a crew, or she goes with a crew to pick up some weapons, because obviously, they don't. A lot of them don't want to, like I said, Ryloth people, the Twi'leks. They just have, they're just, they're fighters really. Like they just rebel, and they go to pick up some weapons to, obviously, because a lot of them don't want to just lie down for the Empire. So Hera kind of goes along with them again, showing her these are the early teachings of the kind of rebellion, that the bigger fight that she's going to kind of join up with. And then she kind of goes with them, and then Crosshair kind of spots them and then fires like a tracker thing. I love when they do that, when they find them trackers and it just sticks to that. For some reason, I just like that kind of Star Wars moment when they do that. And then and then that's where they meet the Bad Batch. And then the Bad Batch are the ones that are delivering the weapons that we've seen them take in previous episodes. It was interesting to actually see them deliver, via Sid, see him where these weapons go to. So they're going to kind of, movements and rebellions and things like that against the Empire. So, and then that's where we see Hera and Omega meet. And obviously we see them bond. We see Omega shows Hera around the ship and how it is like to live aboard a starship. And I just thought it was so like, this is just, you just see her, because it's her story. She lives on the Ghost, on the ship in the Ghost for, and she's one of the best pilots in the galaxy. It's like she's teaching her, or she's giving her first insights into her future almost. So yeah, super interesting. And if you're a fan of Hera, I mean, you're gonna absolutely love this episode. So and they're both connected. I just wonder what other adventures we're going to see with them, or if they're going to pop up again, or maybe these guys will appear in the Book of Boba Fett, or maybe another animated series or whatever. So I don't think that's the ending of them two and their story. And then we see and then that's it. They part ways. That's the last of the Bad Batch we see in this episode. And then Crosshair kind of shoots them down again, showing how proficient he is as a sniper, showing almost no damage taken, seemingly, from that previous episode where he fought, he was faced almost the ship's kind of launch in his face, and he's somehow still survived it. But anyway, he kind of shoots their ship down. Here and the crew are then brought in for treason. At this point, we see they're trying. So Rampart is trying to basically attach Hera to Cham and to try and kind of bring them down as the leaders, their political leaders. But they've kind of established that okay, it's not Cham doing it, it's her doing it. There's no
Mhm.
evidence of him doing anything suspicious specifically. And they're Orin Fritar wants to clearly take Cham down. But then we see Captain Hauser again explaining she's just a kid, like keep her out of it. She shouldn't be facing this punishment, standing up for her. So again, another kind of makes you question what's going on here. This isn't straightforward. So I'm sure we're gonna get some answers with him and what's going on there and stuff. So, but yeah, and your thoughts on seeing what went down with the Bad Batch with Omega, of course, and then seeing her getting captured, and then again, Captain Hauser having that sympathy for her, going completely away from Order 66 seemingly.
What was surprising for me is that the Bad Batch are still working for Sid, because Omega paid off the last of their debt to Sid.
Right.
So the fact that they're still working for Sid, maybe it's okay, we paid off our debt, but now we need actual money, so we still need to do a few jobs for her. But I was thinking with the previous episode, I was just like, oh, they're now going to go off on their own, but they're still working for Sid right now. So that part's interesting. I agree with you. I think Omega and Hera, it's not the last of them two together. It just seemed like the chemistry there, that there's going to be some more scenes with them, maybe later in the season, maybe in something else. We'll see. And then, yeah, Crosshair, just how proficient he is in getting the tracker on, shooting that down. We're seeing in this like exactly why he's called Crosshair. And I kind of too thinking about the fact that where he has the scar on his head, I'm like, did that damage the chip a little bit? Is he acting of his own free will? I'm wondering exactly where he's at. I think the chip is still slightly activated, but I think it might be damaged, and that's how he's going to get to the better side. Maybe like in a final like act of heroism before like he dies or something, is kind of where I'm going now with the feeling of what Crosshair's arc's gonna be. And yeah, the fact too that you have the clones going, she's just a child, and Senator Ta he does not like Cham. Cham has more power than he does, even though he's a senator. The people love Cham because we've seen them argue before in the Clone Wars, and so he really just wants to get rid of him anyway, and he'll go through connecting him to what Hera's doing, making it that Hera's on treason as a child. There's no point that he's not gonna go to as he's a corrupt politician. So it pretty much was just showing more of what we've already seen with him in Clone Wars and previous stuff.
Yeah, and then we kind of see Cham finds out that Hera's been arrested. They try to now intercept the convoy. So there's like a high-speed chase through the desert. They eventually overpower some of the clones and free Hera. So the whole way through, they are stunning as well, these clones. So again, showing that they're all around just well thought out, kind of not well thought out plan, but just not killing people, not harming people, even though your daughter is being held. They're still kind of stunning people. I just thought that was interesting. So
Stun
at this
being
point,
used a lot.
Yeah, it is definitely. But not. But I just noticed like by certain characters, characters don't use stun, which we'll come to now. So, and then Cham, they've kind of freed everyone. Rampart's kind of been held at gunpoint, and Orin Fritar as well, and then they kind of free obviously Hera, and then Cham has a gun pointed at Orin Fritar. He wants to kill him for his corruption, all his dealings, and not helping Ryloth and putting them first. So at that point, Captain Hauser again intervenes and says, you need to stop. Like almost as if he's not affected by Order 66 at this point. He just seems like a free clone, which we definitely need some kind of explanation on now at this point. So Rampart then thanks. So he puts his blaster down, and excuse me. Then Rampart then thanks Orin Fritar for his service, and then which was a bit weird. And then I thought, what's going on here? And then Crosshair kind of snipers him in the head. You see the kind of blast of fire and the smoke coming out of his head and stuff. Apparently he's so yeah, that was like a cool death scene. I felt, but there was a bit of online confusion about this because this character is also Orin Fritar is in the book Lords of the Sith, which is a canon book, which is set a few years after this, so a few years before Revenge of the Sith. If anyone hasn't read that, it's one of my favorite canon books. We did rank some of our canon books in an early episode with special guest Thomas Harper. Please check that out. I think I ranked it 2 maybe. So this character's in it, obviously Cham Syndulla, Palpatine, Vader. Like they have to. It's set on Ryloth. Majority of it. It's really, really good book. But this character is in that book, and I don't remember exactly, but what happens to him. But he's in the book. I remember. So there's a bit of confusion about that. So some people think he's not totally dead, but he looks like he was shot in the head. So I don't know. But anyway, Cham then takes over the transport. Obviously saves Hera. More troopers arrive. Hera kind of escapes with Chopper. And the Syndullas are there basically arrested for Orin Fritar's assassination. They've clearly been set up, and the kind of episode finishes. So interesting ending. Obviously the next episode clearly is going to be on Ryloth. We've got some story ties there we need to tie up. And so what are your thoughts on the assassination here on Orin Fritar, with the Captain Hauser getting involved, not being like a regular clone, and other clones not really having an issue with it as well? I've noticed that if they're enacting Order 66, normally they question that and prioritize that regardless of rank. So because I thought, is he a captain? Maybe he didn't have the chip or something like that. But then we see Captain Rex obviously has had the chip, so yeah, definitely need some answers there. Thoughts on that, and then obviously the assassination, and then being framed for this by Rampart and the rest of the Empire.
Yeah, with Captain Hauser, he's acting like we said that he's not enacting Order 66, and the rest of the clones, if they were enacting Order 66, they would be questioning him. They'd be doing the same thing that we saw with Crosshair to Hunter early in this series. So it's very surprising that not only is he questioning and saying, "Oh, it's just a child," that the rest of them stayed quiet as well. So I really you want to know what's going on there. Where's their chips at? Where's their chips at? The other thing too, when we see Crosshair and you see in the scope that, and you're like, it looks like he's going to shoot Cham, but we know that Cham is alive in Rebels. So it's just like, is this how his wife dies? That was what I was thinking. And so when he shoots Senator Todd, I was just like, oh, that's where we're going. And then the fact that then Rampart is like, you're being arrested for attempted murder. And so I think it was like a smart way of the Empire going, oh, we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's why we wanted him to come in. That's why we have this elaborate plot, is we're getting rid of the 2 leaders of Ryloth here, and then we'll be in control. So it seemed very much of like that war tactic of how can we get rid of the leaders to be in control of this planet. And why, to me, I'm like, why is this planet so important to the Empire there? Because I know why I like the planet of Ryloth. And then there's also so much that we see Ryloth in Clone Wars and Rebels, and then now here. But why does the Empire like Ryloth so much here? So that's an interesting fact here. I don't know the answer to that yet, but that's kind of one of where my theories are going through, is what's so important there. So it was pretty much, and I haven't read that book, so to me, I was like, oh, Senator Charles, because this is his end here.
Yeah, I've only read it once, and so the whole book consists of basically, not to give any spoilers away, but they are enacting and they're rebelling from the Empire. The Empire have enslaved their planet, and it's like a military planet, so it's their base for them, for the Empire. So up until today, I didn't know how that occurred or when that occurred exactly. So Cham is like the leader of a bit like Saw Gerrera, basically for Ryloth, and there's a whole free Ryloth movement. It's a whole political thing where basically Vader and Palpatine, their ship is on Ryloth, and I think they're escaping, and then they kind of blast the ship, and they kind of crash lands in the jungle, and they have to survive in the Ryloth jungle. And then they know that the three Ryloth Twi'leks know that they've survived and they are coming for them. And obviously they've got the lightsabers, they've got Force use. It's an awesome book. It's absolutely awesome. And they just know it's like almost like a horror thriller thing that they are coming. With the audiobooks, you got the music, you got the voices. It's absolutely awesome. So I do love it. But yeah, just give a summary of the episode. I thought it was enjoyable seeing all the Syndulla backstory, particularly Hera. It was just a nice canon episode. Like if you're a hardcore person like us, so you got Leia's theme. If that was Leia's, to me, that I heard Leia's theme in that. So you're getting Hera, you're getting Chopper, you're getting clone stuff, you're getting Ryloth, you're getting Cham Syndulla, you're getting clone. It's just an all round, just thick episode of Star Wars stuff. So I enjoy it for that. So if you are newer to Star Wars, or if you've maybe not seen anything outside the Bad Batch of animation stuff, you might have been a bit lost watching this. I do understand, but overall, I did thoroughly enjoy it. Another interesting thing, Captain Hauser definitely needs some kind of answers what's going on there. We see clone troopers turning on each other, getting chips taken out, fighting against Jedi's, and this guy's just completely chilling, just doing his own thing. So definitely needs some kind of explanation there. So plus I like his armor as well. His armor seems fresh and clean, like he hasn't been through some of the battles that other clones haven't. In terms of Order 66, so lots of theories there. And just the Hera and Omega team up. I don't think we'll get an answer. They might see each other again in the next episode, because we didn't get much of the Bad Batch at all. So I'm assuming they're going to reappear in the next episode, but I don't think this is the end of their story. So definitely more stuff with them. But overall, I'd probably get it 7, maybe 7.5. Solid episode, really fun, like I said, for the canon junkies out there. But overall, so if you have any, give us your summary, give us a ranking, and any theories that you might have.
Yeah, I think I'll probably put this at a 7.58 for me. This definitely was an episode for us who watch everything. So if you're just watching the Bad Batch, you might be a little confused in this one. But I think I've saw like a few people who like this is the only thing they watch and they didn't know who the characters were, but they enjoyed the episode regardless. So I think Filoni did a good job with that, of like putting in his characters, making it where for people who are not as big as Star Wars fans like as us are going to be like, okay, this is an enjoyable episode, but for people like us, we're like, oh my gosh, Hera, and as with her French accent, her Twi'lek accent, the Ryloth accent, Chopper, like that, like it was
which
so
she completely doesn't have in like 15 years, but yeah, it was definitely fun.
Although she has it in one episode. Yeah, in one episode she does.
Right.
She goes back to that accent.
We meet her, I believe, 5 years before A New Hope, which this is, I want to say that's, so this is probably, it's like 15 years, maybe something like that. Yeah. But I just find it funny that, she's got such a thick French accent and she has no accent moving forward. But I also think that was Vanessa Williams as well voicing her. Yeah. So the same voice actor, of course. So, but yeah, please.
It was cool to see her. I'm very much, this episode is clones. What is going on with their chip? Goes, why is he just chilling? As you greatly put it, he was basically just chilling this episode.
Yeah, relax. Just stop fighting. Yeah. Leave him alone.
So that's the takeaway there. And then with the Bad Batch, I think they might be the ones that rescue Hera next episode, because all she has right now is that land speeder, whatever that contraption's called. Bad Star Wars fan on that side. I don't know.
It's like a speeder bike, some kind of weird. Yeah.
But so how is she going to get off Ryloth? Because we know that I have a feeling she's not going to get captured there. She might be possibly like almost captured. I think in some way or another, the Bad Batch are going to save her, and that's how she's going to get off. Who knows where she goes from there, like immediately afterwards, because like we know a little bit of like some of her canon stuff, but there's gaps there, and this is obviously one of the gaps. So pretty much it's just like, okay, where's Hera going next, and what's up with the clones? That was this episode for me.
Yeah, so me and Sol definitely enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Us kind of junkies, we eat this stuff up. So that's it. So that's the review, everyone. So please join us on the next episode, dropping Fridays on Disney Plus. So please let us know in the comments what your theories, what your reviews, any predictions, and your overall thoughts on the episode, of course. But that's us signing out. Please look out for our other reviews. That's Loki, that's trailers, that's movie reactions, reviews as well. Obviously Black Widow's coming out in terms of reviews, so look out for that. So thanks everyone for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you all on the next video.